Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and especially you, nephew, welcome back to another Union Arena video. Now, I was just checking if I was recording right there. But had a little bit of a break yesterday because the sim wasn't finding me games, and for some reason, the games that I load into just wasn't loading. A whole bunch of different stuff. I got to play a couple here, but I have to get this video out now because I'm running out of time. So we only have 2 games for you today with this deck. But before we get into the games, let's break down this deck. So today we are playing the Kyoto region for Jujutsu Kaisen. We are running a Kyoto or Toto deck, however you want to define it. But yeah, what we have for you today, we're going to break down this deck, go into the 2 games, and then talk about some deck changes if need be. So let's just jump right into it. For our 0 cost, we have our Toto, and you know, for some, Jesus Christ, oh my God, it's gonna be another ad blocker in this video. Okay, for some reason, I'm just now realizing I've never read this man's actual name or called this man by his actual name. I've only called him Mekamaru. How do you even say this? Kyochimuta? Do they even say that in the show? I guess that's his real name, but I'm calling him Mekamaru for this whole video. So we got the Toto 0 cost, Mekamaru 0 cost, and Gaganji, I don't know how to say his name either, 0 cost, just as an active trigger 0 cost, and just in case we brick up. But these 2 are our raid targets for the deck, and our 0 cost for the deck. For our 1 cost in the deck, we have this Yurihime. She is a searcher. Look at the top 3 cards for your deck, reveal 1 Kyoto Jujutsu High affinity card among them and add them to your hand. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order, and then if you added a card to your hand, place 1 card from your hand to your sideline. So your standard top 3 searcher for Kyoto High, which just double checking. Yep, every card in here, every character card in here is searchable with her effect, which is a pretty nice bonus. For our 2 costs, we have this Ultimate Mekamaru, and this is just as simple. When it's active, it gains an extra energy generation. Our raids here are somewhat expensive, being at a 5 and a 6, so I have a lot of double energy generators in this deck compared to normal, but it is somewhat necessary, at least from what I've seen. And you can also raid onto this Mekamaru or you can also use this Mekamaru as a raid target if need be. For our 3 costs of the deck, we have this Miwa. When played, draw 1 card and place 1 card from your hand to your sideline, which is pretty standard effect, but she is also a double energy generator, which, like I said, is very important. And it also coincides with our other 3 costs in the deck. This other Mekamaru, or human Mekamaru, Muta. I don't want to say his name wrong, so I'm just gonna keep saying Mekamaru. But when played, if you have 5 or more Kyoto High affinity cards or a Miwa on your field, choose up to 1 character on your opponent's front line, and it loses 1,000 BP until the end of turn. And this is also the color trigger for the deck. And that actually combos into his raid, which we'll go over in a second. Before we get there, let's go in order of importance, doing the important stuff last. Domain Expansion is our AP restand for the deck, and then Boogie Woogie is our special event for the deck. This is not the normal sideline special. This is actually a bottom deck special, much like the Nanami deck we played before, where you choose a character on your opponent's front line that is 5k or less, and then you place it at the bottom of their deck, and then your opponent plays 1 character with 3 or less required energy from their hand set to resting on their front line, and then their when played abilities do not activate, and then if Toto is on your field, you draw a card. So this is low-key, it's just a better version of that Nanami card. Let me find it real quick. It was a blue card, and it was an event. Because yeah, it's cheaper, and then you only get to choose where it goes if Nanami is on your board. The only thing you lose in this card is that you lose the card draw if Toto isn't on your board. So this is really just an active card at all times, which is cool. For our other event, we have the Goodwill event, only running 2 of these. It says add up to 1 character card with Kyoto High School affinity from your sideline to your hand, and then play up to 1 character card with fulfilled energy and 1 AP cost and Kyoto Jujutsu High affinity from your hand set to resting on your field or perform raid with it. So just a little bit of sideline recursion for this deck. Honestly, this is a great card, but I don't know what it's doing in this deck. If this purple card needs to be in any deck, it should have been in the cursed spirits deck, but I don't design the game. And that's because like there's not, I'll say there's not like a lot of times where you're sidelining from like the homunculus deck, where we sideline from the top of the deck, and they had a similar card to this where you can grab a homunculus from your trash and add it to your hand, but you also didn't get to play it for some reason. You just added it back to your hand. But the only real sidelines effects that I have is taking this from or drawing one, sidelining one here, and then also sidelining off the search. But for the most part, this can just be used to revive bodies that you blocked with, which is it's strong. It's very strong to not have to go and search for the next copy of your card, just picking it up out the trash. But let's get to the big bodies of this deck. So for our 4 costs, we have this Oitoro. Activate main, choose one of your Kyoto Jujutsu High affinity characters on the other line from this character and swap it with this character. And so it swaps in the same state that it's in, so active cards get swapped as active and rested and vice versa. It's also an active trigger, and then it's also a double energy generator. Extremely good card. This card is absolutely crazy. And I'll be able to show what I mean in the actual gameplay, but what normally happens in the way you play this game is, in order to attack, you push a card off of your energy line, thus sort of taking back sort of what you can develop for the turn, and then playing and then having to play something to sort of replace that energy to your energy line. But now you have an attacker on the board, at least an early attacker on the board, outside of raiding, of course. But with this, you can just fill your cards up. Say you don't draw any other double energy generators, which is not likely, but let's just say it happens. You get this Toto, this Urihime, this Muta, and this I'm gonna say this Nekamaru, because I can't pronounce the other dude's name. Say all of these are on your energy line, so you're generating 4. So you can start your next turn without moving anything from your line. Play this from 4 to your front line. Use his ability to swap him rested with an active character. Now you've developed an attacking body and developed a double energy generator to your energy line without having to lose I guess curve. It actually furthers your curve. So this card is extremely good, and I'll be able to show it when I actually get into the gameplay. For our raids, we have this Oitoro, also a pretty cool card. This character gains, or when played, as a base, it always has damage 2, and then its when played ability is this character gains 2000 BP until the end of turn, and then you may choose one character on both your opponent's front line and energy line and swap them. So it's a good way to disrupt your opponent, swapping in maybe one of their weaker double energy generators to their front line that it cannot, step back because it doesn't have the step effect or whatever, and just ruining their energy generation, forcing them to react and rebuild on their turn, and then also pushing a card from their front line that may have or that could be detrimental, or say a 4K that you want one of your weaker bodies, like this 35 or this 3000 to swing over. You can just push that 4K away, bring up something weaker, and you still have that damage 2 on the raid. So a pretty cool card. Don't think I use that too. Actually, no, I do use it once, but for the most part, I like to clear their board before raiding him in, so I just get that free damage 2 and they can't even block with something that I swapped from the energy line, because once I raid him and I have the board clear, I don't have to swap anything. And then for our last raid, our most expensive card in the deck is his Ultimate Mechamaru Mode Absolute. And then you can raid him on top of Ultimate Mechamaru, which counts as this card, and this card. And it says, if you have 5 or more Kyoto high affinity cards or a Miwa on your field, this character gains impact 1. And then when played, choose one of the following. Choose up to one character with 35,000 or less BP on your opponent's front line and sideline it, or choose up to one site on your opponent's field and sideline it. So that's what I was talking about with the combo potential with this. You have a Miwa on board, play this out, subtract one of their 4Ks, which is, you know, the baseline for most raids, bring it down to 3K, and then raid on top this Mechamaru to sideline it. So and like I said, with removal, any extra removal in these decks is fair game for a good deck. So let's jump into the games. We only have 2 for you today, unfortunately, because I couldn't fit enough time in to find a third one. But both of these games went pretty fast, so this is probably going to be a short video. I hope you didn't grab your snacks this time, unless you want to watch another one of my videos, which you're very welcome to. Go ahead, check out that Riftbound game from yesterday, as I try to figure out a better way to record Riftbound. But for this first game, I believe I mulligan this hand, mulligan to get this hand, and then I hit record afterwards. So it is a bit rough. 3 0-cost Totos and a 0-cost Mechamaru, and then 2 of the swapping Totos. But with that being said, even without drawing for the rest of the turn, like I said, fill up your energy line with these 4, play him to the front line, swap him with an active character, and you have just as good as a curve as any. So play this to the energy line and last turn. But I am, you know, hopefully gonna draw into something better for me. So I get a Miwa, which I cannot play this turn, so I just continue to develop. And this is what I said, there's normally no chance that you don't get a double energy generator before that other Toto comes down, but it is an option for you. But this isn't bad. I have all of my raid targets on board. I don't have the energy generation to raid off trigger, but whenever I have my raids, they'll be ready to go. And they're playing their alt art, so I'm checking everything. I'm not even notifying what they're playing. They're playing the red, I believe this is the Titan Aaron deck. But we sort of just roll through this game. So I play the Miwa, draw 1, trash 1. I draw into the raid Toto for turn, and then I use the Miwa to draw 1, trash 1, draw into the Mechamaru, and trash one of my 0-cost Totos because I no longer need him. I play out this 4-cost swap Toto to play him to the energy line, swapping him with the active one on my bench. And then I'm trying to decide what I want to do next. And I was rereading the raids, and these are more of, or I guess I will want to save these more for reaction raids. One, if they do get the, what's his name? The Titan Aaron out, I would like to swap him with a Toto to the energy line to hopefully get one of their double energy generators, which they would need anyways to generate 6 to play that raid. And then on the other hand, if they get the basement, I would like to sideline that site with my Mechamaru. So I decided to keep both of them in hand, just developing my other Toto to develop another attacker and completely fixing my energy line. Now I'm at 7 energy on, what is this, turn 3, with 2 attackers up. So extremely, I don't want to say aggressive because it's not like the red ODM gear is an aggressive deck where you cheat out bodies that are active and they swing or whatever. This is just an extremely good curve. But now I'm ready for anything, any raids that come my way, I'll be able to raid out. Yeah, that's really all I need to worry about for triggers in this deck. So I do play a Mikasa to sideline at 3k or less, so they hit my Toto, and then I get a raid Mekamaru, raiding them on top of the one that I had on the board, and sidelining their Aaron before he got to attack. And so now I don't know what I drew for. I guess I made my play in my head already. Yeah, I guess I made my play in my head. I'm just gonna, so I just AP drew because I just want to reset my energy line. I still don't want to play the Toto for the same reason. To R1, I would like to keep my energy generation. And then I also draw for that effect. And I end up, I make a mistake here. I misread this card. I thought it's you can swap any two, but you have to swap that card. So I reread it here, and then I realized my mistake. I cannot move that Miwa to the front line. The idea behind that is I can move the Miwa to the front line as a 35 or 3,000 powered body. I gotta notify this anyways. As 3,000 power body, but also protecting my Toto in case I wanted to raid him. But I only have one raid in hand, so it really wasn't that big of a deal. But what was a big of a deal is me using his effect, because they actually get a color trigger, and I wasn't even thinking about this until it happened. But their color trigger KOs a 2,500 or less, so it would have KO'd my Toto if I had let him or left him on the front line as an attacker. But since I swapped him out with this Toto's effect, I got the attack in while being protected from that color trigger. And then on the next life, it was a non-trigger Aaron, and I'm up 6-3 in life, and their energy line is shot, especially for the deck, the type of deck that they're running, where they need a lot of energy generation. They do get the Hannes or Hanji. I think they only call her Hanji in the English dub. Yes, I watch my anime in English dub. Sue me. But this is fine because this is sort of what I was waiting for to raid the Toto out in. They do get the sideline event on my Mekamaru, sending him to the trash. And then they play out this Armin to their front line. And this is actually the top deck of my life, because now I get to play this Muta to -1k to the Armin, raid over him with the ultimate Mekamaru to, well, I didn't need to -1 to do this, but play the Muta out, -1 anywhere, and then play Mekamaru and sideline him, and then I can play the Toto, or I can raid the Toto and push him forward to swap this Armin with this Hannes, and messing with their energy generation even more, because I know that is what this deck needs. So sidelining this Armin, and then raiding out this Toto. And I'm just letting my opponent know to sideline, and then the Toto effect to swap these two. And yeah, and my opponent just leaves there. That's why this game is so fast, which is fair, because it would have been double attacker, impact, and then regular attack. They have to block the double attack to survive, and in order to do that, they will lose their only double energy generator they have played this turn, which, you know, just absolutely kills this deck. And then even after that, it would have been 2 more life from these two, more than likely, depending on triggers. and pushing them down to 1. So my opponent just leaves, which is fair. GG's to you, and let's go to the next game. Also, both these games are 11 minutes and like 18 seconds. What in the world? That's crazy. Both these recordings, I should say. So let me look at this. So I'm mulliganing this because there's only 1-0 cost and I have no curve. I get another only 1-0 cost, but I do have the curve into the Sorcerers in the next turn. So I play him out to the energy line, setting up for the Urahime. I have 3 in hand, so I'm definitely going to sideline 1 with my search. I just got to find what I need. So I will use this, search the top 3, add this Mechamaru to hand. Now, the reason why I added, I know I've just gushed over this Toto card right here, this Toto card for like 30 minutes, but I added this Mechamaru to hand because I know in order to search, I need to sideline 1. I only wanted to sideline 1 of these other Uzuhimes for now. So I was looking for something to better fit this curve instead of me having to play out another Urahime. And so when I played this, I was like, let me just find something that's a 2 cost or lower. And I found my Mechamaru, which is also a double energy generator. So I can live with this. And even now in my next turn, I can play the Toto that I have in my hand and play to the front line and do the swap tricks or whatever. They push up their Yuri card to get an early attack in. I have to take the damage. And I get a draw trigger to get this Goodwill event, which is great because I do kind of want that Miwa that I just triggered out. Even though I do have 1 in hand, it's still good to have as much double energy generation on your energy line with this deck. As I just ramp a little more, going up to, what's that, 2, 4, 5. And then now I can play this Miwa to draw 1, trash 1. I think I trashed this. Yeah, I trashed this other Urahime because I no longer need her. Then I also play this to the energy line to get even more double energy generators and also extra raid trigger or raid target for Mechamarus. So he ends up blocking my swing to keep his life a bit healthy, which is fair. And they push up in a 2k body Asuna. So I almost block here, but I get greedy and I take the hit. Sending another Mechamaru. That Mechamaru has no trigger, but now I did draw into what I need. So now I just have to figure out how to do this in the correct order, and I can clear their board and attack in for at least 2. So I move this Toto up to the front line as an extra attacker to bottom deck, and then I use the event to bottom deck their Asuna, drawing a card. And then now that I have 2 raids, I might as well use him because I have another one at the ready for when I need more removal. And they do get to play out a 3 or less from their hand as rested. So I raid in 1 Mechamaru to sideline their little body. I think about this Toto, but I decide against it. Instead, I decide to grab this Miwa back to rebuild my energy line because I don't have a good target I want to swap from their energy line to the front line. And also, there's actually something else. I actually get punished here, but these Asunas are, if they move outside, and it's blank text, so it does not have to be their turn. If they move outside of the movement phase, they gain 1000 BP. So if I used this raid and swapped these Asunas out, I could have swapped out the Kiritos, but if I swap these Asunas out, I will actually have buffed this Asuna to a 4k, blocking my old man here. But they get a color trigger, bouncing the Toto back to hand, which sort of sucks, but like I said, that Toto being played isn't that much of a detriment. You just play them to the front line and swap them out with an active character on your energy line, and you kind of succeed from that. They get the Stardust Stream to sideline my Mechamaru, and then they raid in their Kirito to swap something from, or move something from their front line to their energy line and vice versa, activating the and this is another, I don't know why I'm so greedy in this game, but activating her movement buff because it's not their movement phase. So she goes to a 4K, and then he is a double attacker with 4K because he has Asuna on the board. Get a final trigger. I have to take it. I guess this isn't actually super greedy because I know I can only block one. So I would much rather take the triggers on 2 instead of losing a body. In case one of these are an active trigger, then I can at least block it. But I take the 2 and I get the sideline trigger to end up sidelining their Asuna anyways, keeping me in this game a little bit more and setting me up for the comeback. So I play this Toto again, swapping him with the Miwa as an attacker, and now I can play this to the energy line, push me up to 7 energy, but using his effect to -1 to the Kirito. And then domain expansion because I'm sort of in a pinch. I want to catch up here. I normally don't like raiding over those Totos, but I really need the catch up here. So I wanted to use his double attacking effect. Now I have a full board, and I'm actually threatening game here, to be honest, just like that in one turn. Because he's a double attacker, they only have 5 life, so they really need their triggers to save them here. Because he has double attack, or double damage, I mean. So this is attacking for 2. They get another color trigger, which does save them for the game, bouncing the Miwa back to hand. And then I attack him with the Mechamaru. They get no trigger, and then they get a special trigger actually, which sidelines my Toto, which sucks. But now we're still at the point where I've removed a lot of their board. They only have 3 energy generation currently. Their hand size is pretty large, so they can have some AP restands, some turn extenders to both rebuild their energy line and get active and possibly push me into an even worse position, because I only have the 1 card in hand and it is only the Miwa. So they definitely can have cards to go for game here, but they do have 1 AP restand, but they use 2 AP to develop this blocker. But it doesn't matter much. I get an ultimate Rekamaru off trigger, and that sort of, I mean, the game has been sealed either way because I have a Miwa on board. This Mechamaru has impact, so I just swing for impact, and unless that's a final, then they win. But with this Mechamaru, it is definitely a game. Just play for all 3 action points. Play this for 1. Play the Miwa for 1. I skip her effects because it would just been trashing, and the game is over. Sidelining their little chump blocker, and now I get to just swing impacts twice, and they quit out. So, and yeah, that was pretty much game, because even if this was a final, it would have been another impact swing, and that would have been game more than likely. So GG's to my opponents for today's video, and let's jump back into this deck now. Okay, yeah. Remember the ad block. Remember the ad block. Remember the ad block. I gotta drill it into my head, because nephew, you cannot see this. Yeah. So this was an extremely strong deck, just as is. I don't think this is the perfect 50. I'm sure there's some cards that can be used, like this Takada. I'm not running. It is a double energy generator, but this is a bounce back to hand card. And I feel like all of my double energy generators here had a pretty good curve, especially with this Toto being one of them. So I have a good curve into getting these out. The other cards, this one I almost ran 1 attacking, choose up to 1 character on your opponent's front line, and it loses 1000 BP until the end of turn. Maybe if I were like completely focused on this Mechamaru build, because I know he has his own event, this could probably run in it, just to constantly have that -1k to anything on their board. Actually, no, I can't, because this is 1 attacking. So yeah, this card's just bad. Never mind on that. It's Maki Zenin. This is probably a bit more of the speed, a 0 cost. Actually, no, this buffs your characters. Okay, reading is fundamental, Donovan. So yeah, this card isn't that good either. This is the color trigger that I almost ran before I scrolled all the way down. This card isn't good either. Activate main, place one card from your hand to your sideline. This character gains double damage. And then if Takeda is on your field, this character gains 500 BP. So you have to have this one single card on your field to have him be a 4K. So I didn't think that was that good. Took him out the deck. And plus, trashing a card to gain double damage just didn't seem that good to me, especially in a deck like this. I guess that would make more sense as to why this Goodwill event exists. Almost ran this one for a little bit of board flood. Play up to one character with 2 or less required energy, 1 AP cost from with Kyoto Jujutsu High. Affinity from your hand set to resting on your field. So a little bit of board flood, but the only cards in this deck it could hit are 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. And they all aren't cards that I really want board flooded anyways, especially for 3 energy. All 3 of these are cards that I'm playing to generate energy, and then this one will be played at 2 before this one. So this just didn't seem like a good card after thinking about it for a minute. It has no trigger as well. This one, when played, draw a card. Also, no trigger, not as good, and especially with this Miwa just being a much better draw one and trash one. Isn't better than just straight up drawing a card, but it is also double energy generating with a trigger and double energy generate, or double energy generating with a trigger. It's late, give me a break. This, I nearly got bamboozled by this card. So it's a 4 cost, 2 action point, a double attack. This character must block your opponent's attacks if able to. And then when played, choose up to one character on your opponent's front line. It loses 1000 BP for each other Kyoto Jujutsu High affinity card on the same line as this character until the end of turn. So if you have a full board on your front line, it can lose up to 3k because it's other Kyoto High. So you can subtract 3k when played. And also when blocking, it gets choose one attacking character on your opponent's field, and it loses 1000 for each whatchamacallits, same effect, but when blocking. And I was like, yo, this is crazy, and it double attacks. Instantly added 4 to here, and then I was looking at it, and I was like, this is way too strong of an effect. There's got to be a catch. And then I found it, and you guys probably already see it, but it's only a 2k body. It's not surviving anything. This is getting blocked by almost anything in this game. You can only choose one character for it to lose all that BP. So it's not really, and it has to block, by the way. So it's mostly gonna die. So for 2 action points, we're not running that. Almost bamboozled me. This is all stuff. Almost ran this as well as a 2 of, but I didn't think it was that important, especially with these Mechamaros already having impact. That seemed to be the best part about this. It is choose up to one Toto and up to one character other than Toto, and they both gain 1000 BP until the end of turn. And then if you choose 2 cards with this ability, give the chosen Toto impact +1 until the end of turn. So the impact is cool and all, but it didn't seem worth it to run these over the Goodwill event. And then the only other card I thought about running was at the end here, Ultra Cannon. I thought about splitting between these two, between the Boogie Woogie and Ultra Cannon, because this is your standard sideline event just with Mechamaru on the board. If Ultimate Mechamaru or any of these Mechamaros are on the board, you can sideline a 5k or less. But I stuck with the Boogie Woogie to keep the card draw, and the bottom decking to get around sideline effects, like I was saying in the breakdown for the Nanami build. But yeah, that is pretty much the deck list. I'm probably not making any changes to this deck. It's done me well in these 2 games. Maybe with more testing, I can see more of its pitfalls. But for now, it was running perfectly, exactly how I envisioned it. So yeah, this is ironed out for me. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today's video. If you liked the video, make sure to leave a like and share with anybody else who is learning Union Arena. Like I said in the middle of the video, if you want to learn the other card game that I'm starting, which is Riftbound, I dropped a video on that yesterday. I got to figure out a schedule to balance out between Union Arena and Riftbound. But I dropped a video on Riftbound yesterday, going over the gameplay of that. If that's something that interests you, be sure to check that out. And if both Union Arena or Riftbound interest you, be sure to subscribe with the notifications on so you know when I'm dropping, or what I'm dropping, when I'm dropping, and when or where to watch it. But outside of that, support your local card shops, and I will see you all on the next one. Goodbye.